It's your girl Kia Jean, just coming to you all today, welcoming you to Queendom, yes, where we're always adding jewels to your crown. All right, let's start adding. Hey Queens, it's your girl Kia Jean back for another episode of Queendom Podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about mental fitness. All right, so who I have with me, my special guest is going to be Ms.Joí Iman, who is the CEO of Joí Iman LLC. So Joí is a life coach, a stylist, and a mompreneur. All right, so let's dive in because I'm excited to talk about mental fitness. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's just share a little bit about you with the viewers.
Okay, so as Jakia said, I am a mom, and my background is social work, so I'm a licensed social worker, soon to be licensed independent clinical social worker in the name of Jesus. And so I have been working in social work for about 11 years now, and we're going on 11 years. And so my life's work, my heart is just how God created me, is just to serve people. And so that has brought me to where I am today and sitting with you all at this very moment.
Yay. So when I think about mental fitness, I think about, of course, it's the mind. We start there, but I also want to tie it into self-care, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, then our mental capacity is off balance.
Right.
So, talk a little bit with us about mental fitness.
Okay, so the mind is powerful. Being in the field of social work, I've really come to realize how powerful the mind is. Outside of the social work lens, we on a day-to-day basis typically don't think about how powerful our minds are.
Yeah.
But when it comes to where we are mentally and emotionally, it affects every aspect of our lives. When we are not, you've heard the saying, how can you pour from an empty cup? And that's absolutely true. How can you pour and give into something or someone or people who are a part of your village when you're not at your best? It's just impossible. We trick ourselves into believing that, oh, I am maintaining and I'm giving, but you're not giving your best, so they're not receiving the best. Because you're not at your best as a result of not being at your best. And so it goes into not only just mentally and emotionally, but physically. All of that ties into how you are day in and day out. And you won't be 100% every single day, but it should be your effort intentionally and strategically working toward getting to as close to 100% every day as you possibly can, because again, it affects every single aspect of your life, whether you're a mom, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you whether you're men, women, it doesn't matter. Our children are affected, but self-care is so important. What you feed yourself, what you give yourself, you put in position to give to other people around you, especially those whom you are close to and consider a part of your village.
Great. That answers the question. Like, you summed up two of my questions.
Okay.
Right there. It is great. So, as being a mom or a wife or, just a woman, sometimes we feel guilty when we try to create a me time, because we feel like I ain't giving my child enough, or I'm not giving my friend enough, or I'm not giving my spouse, significant other enough, or my boyfriend enough. And we feel guilty when we try to take away and just get a chunk of that time for ourselves. How do you coach women who is battling that? Because that's probably like the number one thing, isn't it?
Yes. We spread ourselves so thin.
Yeah.
We are 1,000,001 things. We take it on 1,000,001 roles. And figuring out how in the world do I balance all of that. One thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration, and we're not taught to take into consideration, is love language.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to spit out.
Okay.
Love language. We don't take into consideration love language, and when we hear about love language, we are oftentimes referring to the love language of someone else, but we have our own love language. And we as individuals, as moms, as women, have our own love language, and everybody's love language is totally different. And it's important for us to be aware of what our love language is and what the other person or people in our life, what their love languages are, so that we don't feel as spread thin. So I know that I can, if this is your love language, then I can do this to make you feel good. Whereas in my own mind, I trick myself into believing that it's cookie cutter and every single person needs the exact same thing from me, which is draining, but they don't. So it may just be something as simple as sending a text saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, and that's it. That's how I'm feeding that person while also making room for myself. It doesn't take a whole lot to send a text message.
It doesn't.
But we trick ourselves into believing that we have to be here, there, every single place, and we don't. And we just don't. Everybody's needs are different. They look differently, and it's our job as women to figure out how, for these particular people in my life, a part of my village, what do they need? While also making sure that we take into consideration what it is that we need and what our love languages are. And so if we take out this cookie cutter mentality that I have to be in the person's presence, or I have to just constantly, be there with that person, or do this, that, and the other, then we would really realize that it doesn't require a whole lot of effort in the first place to show someone that we care. And also just being honest with people that I'm not at my best today, and I can't give you what you are looking for. Sorry, not sorry, but I can't, because I have to take care of me. And most importantly, if I don't take care of me, then I definitely can't give anybody else anything.
So for me, I had to vocalize to my family, my husband and my children, because they would, as soon as I got off work, because they knew what time I got off, they would immediately text me, what are we eating? I mean, well, you've been at home for at least 3 hours. You can't figure out what you're going to eat. Stop texting my phone, because as soon as I get off work, because y'all are not letting me separate the two. Because I need to turn off work to turn on what I need to do for home, for home. As well as, I used to come in, I'm a whole lot better now, but I used to come home and I needed, give me 15 to 30 minutes of just letting me just be. Where I don't want to answer questions. Just let me, if I'm on my phone, just let me be on my phone, because that's a way of me like decompressing and getting myself mentally ready to, let's tackle homework, let's cook dinner, let's do whatever it is that we got to do. And I think we as women I think we need to give ourselves permission.
And we need to dismiss the norms that have been created as a result of how we have grown up and what society has deemed as norm. Because just like you said, I had to get to a place where before I got to this place, I used to, just like you said, come from work, and as soon as you get home, it's straight into another role. Another role which equates to another job. And I did not give myself time to just be, to just relax, to just process what this day looked like and what the rest of the evening would look like. And so I realized that I can't keep functioning like this. I can't keep not even getting undressed and putting on something comfortable until 10, 11 o'clock at night when I'm ready to get in the bed. Like, no, just give me a minute, give me a moment to just be, to get relaxed and not have to feel like I'm obligated to jump into a second, third, or fourth role when I just left the other role.
The one that is, that's stressful enough. So when I want to talk about, like, with self-care. I know we as Black women, we have a lot of body images that we fight against. We fight against low self-esteem. And so what are some tools, or how can we combat that you know, let's say as women.
So 2 words: mindfulness and gratitude.
Okay.
Mindfulness is being present in the moment, focusing on what's in front of you at this moment, not thinking about, oh, what I have to cook tomorrow, or what I have to cook later on this evening,
Mm-hmm.
or oh, I didn't fold the clothes and this, that, and the other, but just being. If you are having family night, if you are spending time with your child, if you are just saying, I'm going to read a book, turn off the cell phone, put the cell phone away, and just enjoy the book. Enjoy your family, enjoy being in that moment, and not allowing your mind to travel into the 1,000,001 things that you feel like you have to get done in this certain time frame. And also, gratitude goes into that mindfulness piece. Is just enjoying the moment and being thankful and grateful for the opportunity that you have to just be among great people, be among your loved ones, just be in your home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think to yourself, man, I have a nice home, or you know, I'm protected every day. I woke up without stress and strain.
Mm-hmm.
Just being thankful and being strategic on how thankful you are and
mm-hmm.
what thankfulness and gratitude looks like for you. So keeping a gratitude journal opens your eyes to, man, this is really my life. Like, I could complain about X, Y, and Z, but when I look at it, when I take time to think about what life for me really looks like, it's not that bad after all. Like, it's really good. I'm truly blessed, and that motivates you to keep going and to really put things in perspective and not catastrophize the things that are around you, because that's what we do. We trick ourselves into believing, oh, this little speck of issue is like a mountain size, and it's not. When you put things in perspective through gratitude, it changes and shifts the atmosphere. It shifts where you are mentally and emotionally.
Okay. So I don't want to skip over the jewel that she gave us, which was keeping a gratitude journal. So that's just writing down it physically writing it down, because it sticks to the brain when you write it down. So mental fitness, we have a lot going on up here because we're juggling so much.
Right.
What are some exercises or tools that we could use? Because sometimes, like for me, my brain starts in the morning time. You're gonna get great productivity out of me from the time I get up to probably like 1-2 o'clock.
Right.
And after that, I start shutting down mentally. But then at nighttime, my mind picks back up right when it's time to go to bed on what I didn't do, or how the day went, or what I should have said, what I didn't say, you know. And I know that affects my body, you know. What can we do?
So having a set routine is helpful. Having a set routine. When are you cutting off social media? When are you winding down from TV and just the evening's activities to just get in a space by yourself? Are you getting in a space by yourself to just reflect on what the day, as your kids said, what the day has been like for you? Just really coming up with a routine, because we get so out of whack with what life looks like for us, and that goes back to that lack of self-care, because we're so busy being mom, we're so busy being wife, we're so busy being friend, and whatever other roles we have, that we just don't take the time to say, what do I need? What do I need as a person? Because guess what? You were a person before all of these roles were attached to you. So you were an individual, and what does this individual need in order to thrive? Because not just and let me say this, there is a difference between existing and living. There is a difference.
Okay.
A lot of times we are just existing. We're going through the motions of day to day. Not that we're miserable or anything, but we're still just existing. We're not living out our full purpose. We're not living intentionally. We're not moving strategically. We're just going through the motions. And when we are in position to say, okay, I'm done with just existing. I'm ready to live, and this is what it looks like for me. These are the steps. and also giving ourselves grace.
Okay.
Because every step, what I tell my clients is every single step is important. It's a win. I was telling my client yesterday in a consultation, like, the fact that you could have hung up on me at any moment. At any moment. We've been on the phone for, I think I told her 34 minutes and 56 seconds, and you could have hung up on me at any point, and you're still entertaining me. So that is a win, because you have identified a need that you have for yourself in order to become better, in order to walk in your purpose. And just being on the phone, listening to what I have to offer, and scheduling a consultation, those are just wins in itself.
Right.
So every win is a step in the right direction. Every step is a win in the right direction.
Okay, so what I'm gathering is routine. Schedule. So what does it look like for someone that is starting out on a self-care journey? And we know we got to take baby steps to crawl there, and sometimes we have to say no and be comfortable with saying no, or I can't do that right now, or I'm gonna have to So how do we set up a routine? How do we get started taking care of ourselves?
So self-reflection, self-assessment, figuring out what relaxes me.
Okay.
What relaxes me? For me, I'm not a tea drinker. I hate tea. But the older I get, as I in my mid-30s, I'm like, okay, Joey, you need some tea.
Okay.
It helps you. You may not necessarily like it, but it helps you. And so putting yourself in position to do some things that you may not normally have done, but realizing that it yields some benefits. So for me, tea is helpful. I drink yogi tea. Yogi tea is great. I drink sleepy time or bedtime. It's called bedtime. Stress relief. Chamomile.
Okay.
All of those are great, and I drink. Sometimes I mix them. However my day is going, I just take one of each bag, one of each bag, and just drop it in there, and go to my room and just drink my tea. And sometimes I drink it while I'm reading. Sometimes I drink it while I'm journaling. You have to figure out what helps you. So the things that help me are the tea. Even though I'm not a fan of it, the tea helps me. It helps me relax. It helps me to clear my mental space. I love journaling. I've been journaling since I was in the 7th grade. Okay. And it helps tremendously. As you mentioned, there is no way that we can process every single thing that goes on in our mind, because one minute you're on queendom, the next minute you on being a wife, and then the next moment comes a shift of right. Your children say they're hungry. I want a snack. I want this, that, and the other. So it's just like every single thing floating through your mind. And when you just take time to just release what the day has brought, no matter if it's, and this doesn't mean that you just journal when your day has been bad or when your day has been challenging, but the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing, all of the above, you just dump it. And guess what? The beauty of journaling is that it does not talk back. It's not telling you, Jakia, I don't have, like, you needed to do X, Y, and Z. No, it's just there as your sense of release, your opportunity to release what it is that is going on in your life. Exercise is important. Exercise, and it doesn't matter if you've never exercised in your life. Try 10 minutes. Try 5 minutes. If you can make it 2 minutes, that's still a win. Okay. If you go from 0 minutes to 2 minutes, that is a win. You have to start somewhere. Everything is about taking a step. And each step that you take leads you closer to your goal. Yeah. So those are the things that help me. But most importantly, just sitting down and thinking about, what do I enjoy? What brings a smile to my face? Even if it's just listening to music. Okay. Even if it's just listening to music. If you know that you love music and white noise, or just slow music, or instrumental music, or jazz, whatever that looks like, if you know that it brings peace to you, if it brings a smile to your face, you utilize that as your self-care routine and those steps taken to get you to where you need to be. Some people like cooking. Yes. Cooking relaxes you. If that's your thing, go for it. Go for it, but just carve out some time doing things that you enjoy, that brings you peace, that brings you tranquility, that brings some positivity into your life, and sticking to it. And one thing that is absolutely necessary is a calendar.
Okay.
A calendar, because you can say, oh, you want to go work out today? And then 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock passes, and we have not gone to work out because we have not held up to what we said we wanted to do. But if I say, okay, let's work out at tomorrow at 9 a.m. at Hoover Park.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's us creating a plan. We are creating a plan. We've created a date. We've created a time. We've created a place.
Okay.
And so in my mind, something triggers in my mind to let me know, okay, we've made actual plans, so I need to fulfill those plans. I need to be responsible and follow through with what I said I was going to do. And I promise you, something triggers in your mind. It opens that space for you to say, okay, it's like an alarm.
So it sounds like treat yourself like you're a business.
Yeah. You have just like how you take care of your baby.
Yes.
Just like how you take care of your baby. The baby has to feed at a certain time. The baby sleeps at a certain time, if he or she sleeps at a certain time. But all of that, especially feeding, their routines are in feeding when it comes to babies.
Yes.
You treat it just like that. On schedule. You're not gonna miss a feeding, because guess what? That baby is gonna cut up on you, right? The baby is going to cut up on you, and you do not want to deprive he or she of what is needed, because you deem that baby as precious, right? And it's my responsibility to make sure he or she gets what they need. Well, you are that baby. You are precious.
Yes.
It's your life. It's your life. It's your life. So you're fighting for yourself, just like you fight to meet the needs of that vulnerable baby.
Yes. I want to go back real quick, because I thought while you were talking about tangible things that we can do, I was thinking like, what do I do? And it came to me. I light candles and get in the tub, and I just soak in my bathtub, and that's my time. Nobody bothers me. Sometimes I'll read a book in there. Sometimes I'm gonna watch a inspirational video or a motivational sermon or something. But that's my space for me to when I'm stressed or I'm tight. That's what I do. So
and I love that. I'm glad you brought that up, because we don't take time just to do that. And even for people who say, oh, baths are not my thing, that's fine. But what you can do when you're in that shower is not jump in for 5 minutes and jump out.
That's true.
Because that's not taking care of you. For me, just like you said, the bath relaxes you. Just being in the shower and just standing there. It's just, God speaks to me when I'm in the shower, because I don't get any privacy, because I get knocked out, mommy. But when I'm in the shower, like that's when I'm still enough for him to say, okay, Joey, it's time for us to have our conversation. And it just and even when he's not directly speaking to me at that moment, it's just a space that transformed me mentally and emotionally. And it only happens when I take time to just be. Be. Even if I've soaked up and lathered and I'm done, just standing there. Being still. Being still makes a world of difference. And that's powerful in itself, because we are so busy move, that we don't even know what we've missed, what could have been received, any of that. But just being and saying, okay, at this moment, I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to sit. Do not disturb, and see what unfolds. Something is going to click. Something that you've been stressed about, something that you've been praying about, something is just going to click, and it's going to be that aha moment that leads you into a better mental space than an emotional space than you were before. But definitely every aspect of your life is an opportunity to pour into yourself. Just slowing down, just before you even pull off, don't even turn on the radio. Just get quiet. Just drive in silence and see what happens. Just see what happens. And that doesn't have to be your routine every time you get in the car, but just sometimes just allow yourself to not have any distractions if at all possible. And a lot of times it is possible. We think it's impossible, but it is possible.
So do we have to, I know we want to practice self-care every day for our mental status, but some mom might say, or wife might say, I can't do it every day.
Why not? Because I guarantee you on social media every day.
That is true.
I guarantee you're on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine how much time, if you look at, I'm not tech savvy, but I know there's a feature on iPhone and probably on an Android too, where you can look and see what
how much screen time?
Yes,
iPhone has it. Yes, I know iPhone does.
So think about how much screen time you've utilized searching for whatever, or just looking at other people's lives when you could have been investing in your own life.
Okay.
So there's no way you can tell me that you can't have a moment to yourself. No way. No way. Because if I can, as busy, my life is no different from any other busy mom. So if I can just say, I'm going to leave my phone in the room, that's just self-care in itself.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave my phone in the room and enjoy my family without any disruptions. That's self-care.
Yes.
That's self-care. That's being mindful of what you have in front of you, which is your beautiful family, and you're spending quality time with them. Or I'm going to just go outside and stand. You don't have to walk if you don't want to. Walking is good, yes, and running is good. And it's self-care and exercise. But if you just allow the wind to blow through your hair, brush up against your cheek, that's self-care. Because a lot of times we don't even do that. We don't even do that. Just go outside and look at the trees and them falling, flowers blooming, whatever that looks like. It just puts you, I challenge you, it puts you in a different head and heart space.
Yeah. So those are tangible things and ways for us to self-care without costing any money.
It doesn't cost anything.
Yes, to take care of yourself.
That's a win.
Yes, because sometimes you feel like, oh, I need to go get a pedicure, I need to go get a manicure. But even while you're doing that, you're talking because they're talking to you, trying to give you great customer service.
Right.
Yes.
And sometimes you're just like, why are you talking?
Yeah.
I would really just like to get my toes and my nails painted and be done.
But you went into their space.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So doing things that don't cost a thing, but just you sacrificing time that you're already wasting. Especially if you're on social media all day or the majority of the day for X, Y, and Z reasons. You carve out time, and again, 5 minutes. What is 5 minutes? Even if it's just before I come in the house, I'm just going to sit in my car in silence before I come in the house and be bombarded with every single request from everybody I love. That's self-care. That is self-care. If I just turn off my phone for 10 minutes, and set a timeline for when I'm going to cut, a time limit of when I'm going to cut my phone off for the night, or put my phone on silent, or whatever. I'm going to limit myself screen time all of that is self-care. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take and it's not rocket science. It just takes willpower, the will to do something differently.
So when I think about many diseases or illnesses that we battle, depression, the lack of low self-esteem, and stress, which is a great killer, overeating, different types of just regular common colds come from the lack of self-care. So I get you. It's very important. How can we buy into that plays a big part?
So it's easy for people who know that their life is not where they want it to be to realize if it's presented to them in this way. Sometimes I tell my clients, depending on what their life situation is like, I'm like, are you miserable enough? Because if I've experienced experienced misery in my life.
Yeah.
And if I know what that feeling is, Lord knows I don't want to go back.
Yes.
I hated it enough that I don't want to go back.
Right.
So therefore, in order for me not to get there again, I have to do things differently. My steps and my walk has to be differently.
Yes.
And so that's the same mentality that you have, is that you know that you're not at your best. When you look at yourself, you know that you're not confident for X, Y, and Z reason. Well, guess what? You can do something about it. Even if it's, we know that we hear the excuses of healthy foods are expensive, and that may be fact. But at the end of the day, you have the willpower, if you choose to utilize that and tap into it, not to go to McDonald's, not to go to Burger King, not to order pizza and that's just one step.
Okay.
Cooking more at home, that's another step that you can do. And if you don't know, Google and Pinterest are your best friends. They're mine. So it will help you with every single issue that you are struggling with. It will help you. It will shed some light into a certain area. Did I answer your question? Because I can get to rambling. So you can redirect me if needed.
Yes, you're fine. So, I mean, it's just that you're passionate about it, and I feel like you really want to see people win.
Right, for sure.
Yes. So, let's talk about Joí Iman.
Iman.
Why I keep saying her name wrong? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No, you're fine.
That's her brand.
You're fine.
Joí Iman LLC. How was it birthed?
So this has been going on since about 2013. I started off just people seeing something in me that I had not tapped into myself.
Okay.
So as a result of people pouring into me and telling me, oh, you should do styling, you should do this, you should do that, I finally gave myself permission to do something differently, something outside of the norm of just going to school, getting a job, and that turning into a career.
Okay.
And so I just did whatever research I had to do, because I'm not a business major. Again, I'm social work, so I had no clue what this looked like, but I did the work and made the connections, and Joí Iman was born. And I started off as a boutique, and I soon realized that I did not want to sell clothes unless I was responsible for the design of the clothes, and I'm not there yet, so I'm not selling clothes, but I transitioned to focusing on styling, which was always a part of the foundation, the birth of it. But I solely focused on styling, and as I'm a social worker, everything that encompasses Joí Iman is life enhancement services for women and moms.
Okay.
And so I slowly came into life coaching, which was unexpected in that, and I can tell you the story if we have time, but it was just totally unexpected. But everything that I do is to enhance the lives of women and moms, because clearly I'm a woman and also I am a mom, and I just know the challenges that I faced when I was going through those different seasons in my life, from being now divorced to having my first child, and just what all of that looked like for me, and not even expecting to have her, because I was really one of those people who, not that I didn't think I would ever have children, but I definitely thought that I would probably be in my 40s before I had children, or late 30s. And so that was just the farthest thing from my mind. And so now I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant and I'm married, and what do I do? And you go from 4, 6 to now you're 10, 12, and what does that look like? Because you've always been very small, and who is this person in the mirror? And then I'm also trying to maintain my business, and I'm losing sight of that, because now I have a whole body being precious baby that I'm now responsible for, and how do I balance that? And just all of these different things I've gone through in my life that affects a lot of people, but my preference is working with the women and mothers that it affects. And although the journeys are always different, everybody kind of experiences something to a certain extent, one way or another, of something that's similar. And so just wanting to be a light and knowing your purpose, that God put me on this earth to be light to people, to serve his people, and figuring out what that actually looked like for me. And so here I am, owner of Joí Iman, and I am enhancing the lives of women and mothers all over the world. So that's Joí Iman.
So did it, the startup cost, was it a lot that you had? I know time, we can never put a price on time.
Right.
But as far as any startup costs that came into,
yes.
Okay.
So there was a lot of money in branding and logo design and just buying the clothes and that profit loss margin, where you putting the money in and whether or not you get it all back, and all of that takes you have to take into consideration. So if you're starting a boutique, definitely startup costs, but there are plenty of businesses that require little to no startup costs.
Okay.
But how I started with a boutique, so you have to have product in order to serve as a boutique, right? So it does require upfront costs of you figuring out, even though mine was online, I still had to have a product, and I still had to have a platform where I could serve and sell that product. So website design, logo design, marketing, all of that. The product itself, definitely, I can't put an exact tag on it, but
okay.
definitely some startup costs.
So what about life coaching? You had to have any startup costs with that, or certifications, qualifications?
No, so I'm a licensed social worker, so that in itself, you can go to school for that, but my foundation is totally different, but also gets me to where I need to be. But it just, the foundation that I have, the education and the experience that I have, puts me in the perfect position to serve people. My background has equipped me to focus on, or put me in position to focus on people's past traumas. But life coaching is about acknowledging the past and how it affects you now, but with an emphasis on the future, the present and the future. Whereas social work therapy focuses more on the past and how that has affected you in getting over that hump.
There. So they kind of they don't move you forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It moves you forward, but it moves you in a place where I'm not struggling with the trauma and the past. But life coaching, it's like you're giving light to people through strategic planning to help them know they see it, but don't necessarily know how to get there. And counseling, all they see is what's behind them. And so my clients see what's ahead, but may not understand.
Need help to get there.
Right. They may not understand what it takes to get there.
Okay. So were there any hurdles that you had to jump over that maybe you could share to be being a life coach and helping women that will help someone else that's thinking about maybe becoming a life coach?
So no real hurdles, actually. When I tell you this fell in my lap, this whole social work journey just unfolded in ways that I didn't even see. I didn't see myself this far in social work. I did not. When I chose the major, God told me that I would never be the traditional social worker. So that's the only thing I had to go on, is that I wouldn't be the traditional social worker. But working in a hospital or hospitals and doctors calling me to do family therapy like no other therapist, but I'm the designated therapist to do family therapy, and they're calling me on my off day saying, hey, can you come meet with this client? I never saw any of that. I never saw me having a master's level license and about to have a clinical level license. I just never saw any of that. And I never even saw life coaching. I knew I would never be the traditional social worker, but I honestly didn't know what that actually looked like. And I was in Wingout in Hueytown. Shout out to Wingout in Hueytown. I was in Wingout in Hueytown, and I met her once, and she just randomly walked up to me and said, "Hey, do you work at a hospital?" And I'm like, I have on a mask for one, but I have on regular clothes. There's nothing about me that would lead you to believe that I work at a hospital. So I told her that I did some contract work, and she was like, "Hey, I just met with somebody. I don't even know what their title is, but I just didn't get a good vibe, and I just need somebody who will listen to me." And she said, "If I give you my card, will you call me?" So I said, I'm thinking like, what in the world? I called her, and she's like, "Yeah, I need you. I'm just led. I need you. I need you." And so I said, okay, I'll be in touch. So at that point, I'm like, okay, where do I'm like, what do I do now, and where is this going? So me being Joey, I done whipped up a whole list of forms. I have whipped up a whole list of forms within a couple of days, and I sent her an email with my services, these forms that I whipped out. She's like, "Yeah, I already told you I need you. I'm just led to you. So I want to move forward with your services." And ever since then, it's like God has just dropped people. And when I say literally all over the world, like I have clients in Kentucky. I have clients in Georgia. I have clients in Tennessee, like just all over. And I'm just like, wow, like, so there really has not been a struggle. In all honesty, there's been a struggle with Joey myself, just through this whole entrepreneur journey, because I'm a mix between an introvert and an extrovert, and I would like to think of myself as more so an introvert, and I struggle with hiding. I struggle with putting myself out there. I'm like, no, I'll just do it behind the scenes. You know, if you like the service, you go out and tell somebody, but I won't brag on myself. And that has crippled me. It has crippled me because I minimize a lot. I used to minimize a lot, and I hid a lot, and that's still something, honestly, that I'm overcoming, is just pushing myself and putting myself out there. And so those are the biggest things. It's just knowing, I know how great this journey is that God has taken me on, and may not know all of the details, but I know it's going to result in something great, because it is great. But just putting myself out there so other people can see, that's what the struggle has been. And it's just something that I also want to pour into people, is that God has given each of us a purpose, and whatever that looks like for you, don't you dare hide. Don't dare hide, because He's giving you something to give to other people. And if you don't put yourself out there, how will they know? And they can find out through other people, but He's given it to you, and you are the voice behind it. So don't be fearful, because that turns into perfectionism, or perfectionism is a part of that. And perfectionism cripples you. It cripples you and leaves you in a place where you feel like you are unable to move, and you don't move. You don't move. You stay exactly where you are, where you have been. And if nothing changes, you will continue to be in that same place. And one way that I like to remind myself is to say, Joey, it's a slap in the face to God for you not to push yourself, for you not to do it and put yourself out there, because He gave it to you. He's brought you to this point. He randomly, out of wing out, brought this woman up to you. So why won't you go the extra mile and take a step? Going back to those steps, take that step and just put yourself out there. Everybody won't be the right person to receive what you have to offer, but there are plenty of people who are out there who are in position to receive what you have to offer.
You are blessing me. You hear me? You are blessing me, because I God has given me, things, and I like even with Queendom, my husband had to push me. But it's because I minimize myself because I know who I am, and sometimes it comes off as a bit much or a lot. Because I know who I am, and I know who God has called me to be, and I know, you know, like I know the maneuvering that He's doing. I might not know everywhere and stuff, but I know what He told me. And so sometimes I minimize myself as to, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, you know. But I had to realize God got who He wants, who you can, who's going to hear you and listen to you. He has them. You just don't know who they are because you're looking at somebody else, which is probably somebody that already knows you, you know. So you're looking like, almost like I have it to offer, but I don't have it to offer. So yes, you are blessing me.
Yes.
Blessing
so just reminding yourself of what God has told you and what you know about yourself, and the evidence. Evidence is key. Evidence is key. Just reminding yourself of what God has put in your lap that you have been able to achieve, that you've been able to conquer. That clicks in your mind like, okay, I did that before. With God's help, of course, I did that. So the next hurdle that I come across, I can handle it again.
Yeah.
It will get done. It will be overcome again and again and again.
All right. So, do you offer, because now we're in this unnormed, unfamiliar, which is gonna be norm. Have you had an influx in clients?
Yes, I have. And not necessarily because of not necessarily because of the pandemic itself, but it's just
because of the blessing,
another example of how God moves, because you would think that so much is going on, it's so many reasons for things to shut down, and it's just like I'm just constantly, like yesterday was jam-packed for me, and it's just like, man, even in a pandemic, like when I started revamping Joí Iman, it was when the pandemic began. So I started revamping, and God just made a way in every aspect of it. And here I am, a life coach, a life and vision coach, and like nothing has stopped. Nothing has stopped. And that's because I'm confident that it's a part of His purpose and plan for my life. And no matter how good things are, no matter how bad things seem, there is somebody who is not on the same page, and who is in need of something from somebody. And and that's how it's been for me.
That's good. That's good. I know that with Queendom, I prayed like, Lord, you're gonna have to tell me who you want on the show. You got to tell me, because I don't know. I've been and picked the wrong person or whatever. So who do you want, for your people to hear and stuff? And I remember at work, because I still work for a full-time job. But I remember being at work and at my desk, and I was I was gonna say, well, I don't, from 9 to like 2, I don't do work. I work on Queendom.
That's how you do it. It's been plenty of days that's the case. Yes.
So y'all don't know where I work at. So I remember sitting there, and I had ran into a stumbling block, and I was just like, Lord, I have no idea. I need you to tell me who, And so then I was scrolling, and you just popped up, and I hadn't seen any social media or anything. And at that moment, the Lord said, Joey, and I said, oh my God. And I waited a minute, and then I almost like contemplated, second guessed it, and I said, no, I'm not doing that. So I immediately picked up my phone and reached out to you.
And number was the same.
Yes. So that was great, because sometimes we're asking for direction, and He give us to us, and we second guess it, and we don't just move right when He tells us to move. So I am super
Right.
excited.
I'm truly
Yes.
excited and thankful for this opportunity, and just excited. When I walked in, I was like, "Oh, you legit! Like, yes, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You are amazing. This is amazing, and it's going to be great." And I do want to say one quick thing, just for anybody who's out there listening, who desires to do something bigger than what you perceive to be of the norm or what you're capable of producing, is that write everything down. The Bible says write the vision, write it down, because there are things that I'm getting ready to work on for 2021 that I wrote a year ago or 2 years ago, and I'm seeing like, oh, okay, I can finally see how this is going to come to fruition. It comes full circle. So that's why journaling and just writing your visions are so important, why writing is so important, because with journaling you can look back over your life. I can pick up any journal that I have. I told y'all I've been journaling since 7th or 8th grade. I can pick up any journal, especially those journals when I was actually an adult, and I can say to myself, oh my goodness, look at the growth. Like, even if it was 3 weeks ago or 5 months ago, like, Joey, you were tripping off of that. You were upset off of that.
Yes,
you just it's an eye opener of where you truly were in that place, and where you have come, or what, even if it's just a shift in mentality or a frame of mind. It's just like, I still don't know how to move beyond that, but I know that's not where I want to be anymore. So just being able to see it in black and white and figure out what can look differently, and seeing that it is different compared to what it was. So yes, write the vision, and I promise you, if it's a God vision, it will come in place. It will make a full circle.
So how can we connect with your business, with Joey, for services?
So you can contact me. I have a website. It's www.joiiman.com, and that's www.joiiman.com, and that's for my life coaching services. And for Facebook for life coaching, it is Joí Iman LLC, and the same for Instagram, Joí Iman LLC. For my styling services, sorry, I had to separate the two, but my styling services is styled by joiiman.com. That's STYLEDBYJOIIMAN.com. Sorry, STYLEDBYJOIIMAN.com. And my Facebook is at Joí Iman Boutique, JOIIMAN Boutique, and the same for Instagram. So those are the ways in which you can contact me. Facebook offers an easy way. All you have to do is click message, or you can email me at revive, REVIVE, at joiiman.com.
Great. So Queens, don't forget to check out Miss Joey. She is an awesome lady. I'll put my stamp of approval on her. She has a kind spirit. Ever since I've ever met her and known her, she was very sweet and kind. And it's something about her presence and her spirit that has always stuck out to me. Yay! So being a part of Queendom now, we have a present for you.
You're so sweet. Thank you. Can I open it?
Yes, show them.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've seen this and I wanted one.
Yes. We have given her a jewel.
How cute is this? Oh, I love it. I have seen this and I wanted
So every time she journals now, she uses her
I'm
Queendom.
going to journal tonight. That self-care that we talked about. And I get a Queendom t-shirt. Yes. Thank you so much. I love it.
Great.
Thank you so much.
So, all right, Queens, we really do appreciate you for another episode of sitting with us here at Queendom, talking about mental fitness, self-care. Hey, let's put some of those nuggets that Ms. Joey gave us into action, okay? I promise it's going to help you. If you have any questions, please reach out to her for her services. She is great. Look, you are in good hands. I'm confident that you are in good hands. Don't second guess yourself. Don't feel like she's gonna beat you up. I just feel like this is great for you. So if you need it, hey, reach out to her. I promise you it will be life-changing for you. Until next week, bye.
Bye.
Queens, we want to connect with you. So reach out and let us know who you want to see on the show. Drop your ideas in the comments. See you next week where we're adding another jewel to your crown.